Forget literally everything you think you know about retirement. Seriously, for decades the rule was simple. You get older, you work less. Everyone knew that. But in the year 2000, something completely bizarre happened in Sweden. Seniors just stopped retiring. They tore up the script and marched straight back to work. In this explainer, we're going to dig into the data and uncover exactly why.
I mean, it makes zero sense at first glance, doesn't it? The ultimate dream was always early retirement. It was treated as an absolute economic certainty. You put your time in and you get out early. Then, suddenly, an entire generation just throws that dream away and heads back to the office? So, what actually triggered this massive demographic reversal?
Section 1. The Working Grandpa Mystery. The timeline of senior employment doesn't look like a gentle, predictable slope. It is a massive, aggressive U-turn. In the 1960s, older men were doing grueling, back-breaking work. By the 90s, they basically vanished from the workforce, slipping right into early retirement. But cross over into the year 2000, and bam, the trend aggressively reverses. Employment rates for seniors absolutely skyrocket. To understand a shift this massive, we literally have to throw out all our previous assumptions.
Section 2. Debunking retirement myths.
So what's the most common theory? People say, oh, jobs are just physically easier now, so naturally people can work longer. Makes total sense, right? Well, actually no. The data completely slaps that narrative down. When jobs got easier, people actually retired earlier. The timeline is completely backward.
The real crash in heavy, back-breaking labor actually happened way back in the 70s and 80s. Physical demands plummeted decades before the year 2000. So, by the time seniors started rushing back to work at the turn of the millennium, the shift to easier, desk-bound jobs was already ancient history. Easy work did not cause this. There's a missing link here.
And here's another totally busted myth. The teamwork theory. In America and the UK, husbands often wait for their wives to retire so they can just quit together, right? Joint leisure is a huge driver. But the Swedish data shows this radical individualism. Swedish men absolutely do not care about their spouse's timelines. They don't coordinate. The decision to work is strictly 100% personal. Section 3. Super health and high degrees. If easier jobs and teamwork didn't cause this dramatic return to work, what fundamentally changed inside the aging population? Okay, prepare yourself for a truly wild statistic. 70%. Let that sink in. By the year 2010, 70% of Swedish men aged 60 to 64 were physically capable of running a 100-meter sprint. They aren't just surviving old age. They are literally running sprints. We're talking about unparalleled, superhero-level health improvements compared to cohorts from just 20 years prior. Chronic illness plummeted, stamina shot up. The physical barrier to working later in life just completely evaporated.
But hey, physical health is really only half the equation. You also have to factor in a massive societal explosion in high school and college degrees, especially for women. And the demographic rule here becomes crystal clear. Higher education aggressively delays retirement. Brain-driven workers stay on the job way longer than manual laborers. Their skills actually compound with age.
Educational qualifications exploded in exact tandem with the timeline of people returning to the workforce. Brainpower permanently replaced muscle power in the economy. Modern health gave them the physical ability to work, and modern education gave them the type of engaging, specialized jobs they actually wanted to keep doing. Section 4. The ultimate boss. Pension rules. But look, health and education, they were just the warm-up. They set the stage. The true catalyst behind this whole phenomenon is something much, much more powerful: government money. The 1998 Swedish pension reform ruthlessly changed the rules of the game. It was a structural shock. Step 1, you pay a fixed 18.5% tax. Step 2, the longer you stay employed, the astronomically larger your payout. Step 3, absolutely no free rides. Early retirement was deeply, mathematically penalized. The math here is undeniable. The phase-in of this punishing new pension system matches the exact birth cohorts who suddenly returned to work. Those born earlier got the old, lenient rules and retired gracefully. But those born later, they were caught fully in the strict new system and they stayed at the office. The government literally engineered their return to the workforce through pure financial pressure. Policy dictates reality.
Section 5. Study impact in flaws. Now, before we accept this as absolute gospel, we've got to call out the methodological flaws in the source material. This study finds a really powerful coincidence of trends, but the authors don't actually prove causal effects. Plus, they rely heavily on mortality rates as a proxy to measure overall population health, and that is deeply flawed. The ability to simply survive another year is absolutely not the same thing as having the physical energy to work a demanding 9-to-5 job. Surviving is not thriving.
Even the authors openly admit their limits. They state that they don't attempt to identify causal effects and that their analysis is merely descriptive. They proved a really compelling correlation, not an airtight direct cause. But honestly, despite those academic limitations, the research remains an absolute masterclass in tracking societal shifts.
Which leaves us with a pretty terrifying bottom line. If one single shift in a government pension policy successfully engineered a massive nationwide return to hard work in Sweden, you really have to ask yourself a serious question. What exactly is your government going to do to your retirement?